My name is Abidemi Oladipo, welcoming you again to another edition of our monthly podcast, Tagged Stronger Together. It's going to be very amazing tonight, because we've got an amazing couple here. They're so inspiring. I'm not going to tell you what really inspired me to, what is peculiar and admiring about them. We will be talking that later. But before we set the ball rolling, I want them to introduce themselves to me. I know them, but introduce yourself to the viewers.
Ladies first.
Okay. Hello, my name is Chioma Egu.
Yes, and I am Ikenna Egu. Very simple. Yes.
Ikenna Egu. Okay. You miss your title, though. I know you're trying to be humble, but can you introduce yourself very well to us? Your dear.
All right. I am Deacon Dr. Ikenna Egu.
Okay.
And this is my beautiful wife, Deaconess Chioma Egu.
Okay. You're both welcome on this podcast.
Thank you very
It's
much.
nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
I wouldn't say I've not known or seen you before. I have, but to our viewers, you're new, and we're gonna take you on a beautiful. You will take us on a beautiful train of your marital journey, as in how long have you been married?
Usually women get this question right, but if I have to calculate well, that should be 12 years now.
12 years. Is it right?
Not really.
Not really. You shouldn't be disappointed because he actually told us
Well,
that you may not get it right.
yes, so we actually did our formal wedding in September 2012. So that's for like 13 years.
He didn't do bad.
No, not too bad. Anyway, 13 years and a few months.
In Africa, if you do court wedding, sometimes they tell you you've not wedded until you've gone to church. So that depends on where you're counting from.
So you've got so many dates. That's what you're telling us now. Officially, how long have you been married?
Officially,
Yeah.
according to the law,
Yeah,
that is 30 years.
13 years.
Yes.
You're welcome. How has the journey been? I'm sure it's been remarkable. Not all been rosy.
It's been very interesting.
Very interesting.
Very
Don't worry, you're gonna tell us the interesting, the background to the interesting stories. You wanna take us through when you met, how you met, how the journey started. Is it in this Obodo Yibo, like you call it, or is somewhere? Is it in the Caribbean, America, or in Lagos, or in a beautiful village of I can't say now. Where and how did your love journey start?
Okay, love journey. Well, I don't know about the love part. Maybe our own love journey dates might be different. But I'll start from where we met. My husband was actually my lecturer in the uni.
Oh.
Yes, he was my lecturer in the uni. I think the first time I actually
Oh.
why are you the first time I actually saw him or we met properly that I can remember was I think my first semester exam in the uni, and he was one of the supervisors for the exam. So there was an incident, something about students who have, how Nigeria, well, back uni was in Nigeria. So there was an incident where they wanted students who have not fully completed their registration to stand up in the middle of the exam, and I so happened to be one of them. So I had done some registration. Apparently there was a part that was remaining, and some of us were standing and some were writing the exam. So this lecturer came up to me. I was asking me, so why haven't you finished your registration? And I was thinking to myself, I cannot be bothered answering this man right now. I'm in the middle of an exam, not writing. This is not time to be toasting girl in the middle of exam. Anyway, he went and spoke to his colleagues, and somehow I was asked to sit down and complete my exams, and that was our first official meeting? Do you remember it differently?
Yes, stories I didn't remember. All I know, I walked into the hall and I saw one black fine girl sitting down in the midst of others. That is all I remember.
One black.
Yes, and that is when I know I first saw her. I don't know if I knew this other one about. I was walking. After that I was walking. I was officially doing my job. So the rest is.
Did you follow up? Were you the one marking the papers or
No,
whatever?
that wasn't my. That wasn't my.
subject.
That wasn't my
No, that
subject.
I was just being sarcastic. I was just being sarcastic. I've always had a lot of a meeting point too. For the first time, I've had patients, doctors picking patients. I've had nurses picking doctors. I've had pharmacists picking nurse. Which I'm an example of. So I got one today. The lecturer has picked the students. Oh, that's so interesting. That's so interesting. I didn't know you were gonna come from this angle. I thought maybe you had met in the village or something. But that's so beautiful. And how did the journey to getting intimate, being intimate with each other started? It shouldn't have ended in the hall.
Obviously not.
Okay.
I think that was just the exam period, but I think later on we just started talking, coming around for guidance and the rest of them.
Coming around for guidance.
Yes.
So you started this counseling thing a long time.
I was one of those he was counseling. He had a troop of people that
That he counsels.
that were coming around for guidance. So let me put this.
Okay, within the school system or outside of the school system?
I would say yes, within the school system. So he continued to be our lecturer, and for various subjects we are directed to him. Maybe for one thing or the other, he took some of the subjects we completed in school as well. So yes, it was, to be quite honest, it was strictly student lecturer till after school.
That's very interesting. Thank you for opening up your background to us. I know some things are private, but for you to have opened up, we say thank you to that. But I know for every journey there are phases to it, there are stages to it. So Dr. Hegu, Dickiness Chioma, when did you both now think that you were both suitable for each other?
Well, the first part I was more like I left as being in the university, then I came and did my master's here in the UK. That's here. That I left Nigeria and came and did my master's here, and then we're talking while I was here, and then I came back to Nigeria. I went back to Nigeria after doing my master's, and that's when I was now fully in charge. That's when I now actually completely taught her as because now with the master's I had more.
You now have more counseling skills. You went back to UK to acquire more knowledge on this counseling.
So
So by the time you came back, you now had to be practical, be practical about
the teaching. So then there was also at that point, as the only son, also there was this also where you have to quickly get married, talk, because back home, once you have graduated and you have a job, the remaining pressure from everybody that knows you is, it's time to settle down, kind of thing, So
I think that's more of African, really.
Yes.
We have these stages that we take, and should that really be should that be normal? I think that doesn't work these days again. People are put under the Sachema, you want to throw more light onto that, because people are put under the stage, like Dr. Egu was saying, it's like after school, before school, the next thing. They expect that it should be marriage.
Yes, I think from our culture, it's actually expected. after this is the next thing you should do. But his own was quite different because he had extra pressure being an only child. Sorry, yes, at the time, and being the first son and the only son. So in our Igbo culture, it's really paramount for the parents to insist he gets someone to succeed as soon as possible. So yes, it was his own was 2 times the pressure, if I would put it that way.
And could you go against it?
Yes, well, it depends on how far against you can actually go, because I know my mom actually gave me a list of.
Yes, he went through a lot of interviews.
Oh, no, not the interviews. They gave me a list of people that I should pick from, like of potential ladies that.
Your mom giving you potential list of, the kind of girls. Is it in character, giving you a list of what to view in ladies, or I didn't quite get that.
Now, let me see. It's like she gave me there was a list, this piece of paper with. I'm just using names now. There was one Jane, one Agnes, one Mary, one Beatrice, and says these are people that I think that are very good girls. Pick one from there. Let us move on. So that's what I mean by give me a list.
Okay, those lists were those. Did you know those ladies? Were they living in your communities?
I think they were around.
Were they family friends?
Most of them.
So you knew them?
Kind of.
So she was like, okay. So how did you now go about with the list?
Well, I resisted the list.
And your student was already on your own list anyway.
Well, my student wasn't really on my list, like list.
You've not got into that level?
No, I've not gotten to that level yet. Because first of all, you need to fight off, and initially, they were like, you also have to be someone from our village. That's another one they were particular about. It has to be from your village. That's where they started from, because you have to. This is negotiation, so you have to.
And you couldn't go against it.
Well, not forcefully. You have to be tactful about it. Not being too controversial and not being insultive at the same time.
Okay.
So that's basically what I had to navigate through that period.
So what was the end result?
The end result. Okay, I mean, I knew I was supposed to get married.
Okay.
Okay, but for me, the fundamental question was the who. Because yes, there were many lists. Okay, but the question is the who, because for me that was very, very important. And until I got the who, that's when I was now sure. And the who wasn't on that list. That was just
your own choice was not on our list.
On my mom's list, no, it was not on my mom's list, no.
So because this is, I'm just imagining if we were to be the one that's that is being subjected to that kind of following a particular list. So you were not given it wasn't even about your own choice.
Well, my choice was in that list now.
Okay.
I mean, like it's just like saying I have a goosey soup and a so pick one.
Okay.
I think his own situation was a case of saying,
okay,
he was giving them the impression he was not moving forward, or he doesn't know where to start. So they were thinking they were giving him a head start. Can start off with check this one, what about this one, what about this one kind of list. So it was a case of, this person, we know the family, what do you think about her, what about this one, why not pray about this one and see if that's. So that was mainly what the list was. I mean, we were at the period we were talking, and he always he tells me about it. With them, we laugh about it, and he say you won't believe what just happened, and he will tell me about the list that Mommy just brought, and then we laugh. And
has he taken you home at that time?
No,
he has not.
No,
you were still in the classroom.
Actually, at this period, I've graduated from school, and it happened that was when he came back as well. So I just finished my my last course, and it was within that period. So yes,
that's very beautiful. And finally, you got there.
Yes.
Dr. Egu, I've been imagining how Dr. Egu would have been able to propose. What was his proposal like? Was there anything like that? Was it cultural about it? Was it very African, traditional about its toasting and its proposal?
Well, I don't. The proposal was quite interesting. Actually.
I want to hear the story.
I think that was before you started your application, returning to the UK application.
Probably.
Yes, that was the period, because we were in the relationship where we want to know what we are doing kind of stage. So he had traveled. I knew he had traveled to complete his documentation, and I knew this was, a case of do or die. Like, he's about to travel, and we both know, we are sort of in a relationship. But to be quite honest, I personally, my own personal journey was not exactly clean slate at that time. So I was I just came out of a relationship, so it was feeling like is it outbound they call it now? Rebound. Also, having a relationship with him. So our friendship felt like a rebound to me at the time, because I had just come out of a 5-year relationship. Okay. So it was feeling as though
that headed nowhere.
Yeah, it was feeling as though I don't know whether I like him or he was just a substitute. So within the period he went to do his documentation, I took time to pray, and I took time to just, clear my head, and I decided that when he returns, I'm gonna tell him I think he was a rebound, and I don't want to lead him on and make him feel that we have a future. And this was my plan. So when he came back, I went to his office to have this conversation. We both knew that we needed to have a conversation as soon as he came back. So he said he wanted to go first. And if I had gone first, the plan was to break up with him. But he went first and ended up proposing to me.
I want you to be practical.
Well,
he proposed to you. Did he
we had
bring
a
a note
conversation.
to you? Did he write questions?
No.
Examination questions? I want to know how the lecturer proposed to you.
Okay, so it was more like a very serious conversation.
Okay.
This is my plan. You know what's been going on. You know what's going on with my family background, and he's I'm ready to actually settle down. And I was nodding and hoping he would say I finally decided to go with, and then he was telling me, I see you in my future, sort of a thing, and it ended up being will you marry me?
The proposal style was like writing a sermon. Dr.
Yes,
Hegu,
as usual.
It was like writing a sermon.
Exactly.
This is what you accepted it. You knew where he was going.
I actually said I'll think about it, because that wasn't what I was expecting. That wasn't the way the conversation was supposed to go.
What were you expecting? What did he put to you? To be very brief about it.
He asked if I can marry him. Will you marry me? And I told him I'll think about it.
Okay, so he didn't accept straight away.
Yes.
So it was one of those proposals that was first refused.
It wasn't refused.
Put on hold.
It was
kept on hold.
Yes.
So viewers, your proposal could be kept on hold. Most times, I think the practical way of most people, we expect that when you are proposed to, you are bound to accept immediately. Your proposal could be on hold. The second attempt could be a yes. That is it. So it was on the second round.
No, there's no second round.
There was no second round. He was waiting for a reply.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The response.
Okay.
And the response. That's very beautiful. And how has the journey been? I know marriage and marital journey, it's in phases, like I said the other time. What did you see in each other that attracted you? Because for the fact that you met somewhere doesn't mean, not all relationship ends up in marriage. There should be something that have glued both of you together. So what did you see in Dr. Egu? What did Dr. Egu see in Sister Choma? Be very brief about that.
It was just a knowing. There was this thing that, she's a fine girl, so that's easy.
Fine girl, that's
no, that's not what it was.
Easy.
That's so. You could easily just pick someone.
You needed something.
So, yeah, but there was this. For me, first of all, there was this dream I had, which I knew because God was really working. there was literally my heart where she was standing at the other side of the road, and I was at this other side of the road, and I passed her. And I'd gone far, and I now came back and met her, and that's when I knew that it was her. So for me, there was no other debate. Then, aside from that, it was, I don't know. It was just this knowing that this is just right.
Contentment. You were.
Yes.
You have this inner peace within you.
Yes.
What about Sister Chema? What did you see in him?
What did I see in him? Mine was very straightforward.
Okay.
I prayed about it, and God told me he's my husband. And I remember I sought counsel with a pastor. In fact, I went to a church and sought counsel. I told you, Pastor, look at, because I knew I was emotionally in wreck at that time, and I didn't want to think for myself exactly. So I went to a pastor. I spoke to him, and we prayed together. And the man started laughing. He said, do I want the answer or not? I said, I don't know. And then he said, he now told me to call my husband. In fact, he didn't mind calling the two of them. So he called my husband, had a talk with him. He met him privately. Then he just rang me on the phone and said, that's your husband. I said, I wept. I didn't know why I was crying. I was crying, but there was just, it was a confirmation, but it wasn't exactly what I was expecting.
And here we have today.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
And we actually thank God for that. It's been a beautiful year of 15 years journey. 13. And 13. Okay. One of those things I've actually, admired in both of you is that you're doing business together. And for a lot of people, being in business as husband and wife, people think it's gonna really work. It's a beautiful way to journey together. But what has kept you? How have you been able to, the role of being a husband and a wife together is different for being a partner in business with your husband. So how has the journey been? What has made things possible? How have you navigated in business as husband and wife? Some people are skeptical to go into business with their wife. Some people, like people say, your husband can't teach you how to drive. You can't,
Yeah.
It's I want to put both of them on the same level of partnership in things like that. So how have you been able to navigate as husband and wife doing business together? Just tell us how it's.
I think it's very simple.
Can you tell us the name of your business? What do you do?
Kaito events.
So what do you do in your what does your business entail?
We do decoration for events, any sort of events.
You decorate halls for
Yes.
birthdays.
We decorate halls, and then we have a party shop. Also.
You have a party shop. What do you sell in your party shops?
Just party supplies, balloons, and things like that.
Okay, so how have you been able to manage together as husband and wife?
Go on.
I think it's very, very simple.
To you, it's simple.
But yeah, and I just want to simplify it.
Okay.
Know your place.
Know your place.
Yes. Okay. At this point, she came and said, God has given me an idea to do something.
Okay.
Like, all right. Now, this is the beauty of it, and I'll just give you how this works. And when you understand where your place is in a journey, I think you know how to actually move through it. And this is the beautiful part. She now planned everything and said, all right, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how much money I'm going to save every day, to kind of build the business. So I'm like, okay, fine. And while you finish your calculation, you find out that that's not actually possible. But then somehow financially money just arrives, and you just know that it is for the business, and say, madam, take, and the business starts off. That's knowing your place. So I know that, all right, this is where God has put me, with respect to it. Now,
sorry to cut you. Knowing your place, as in you identified where you were to come in
yes.
that vision being birth.
Yes.
and you what you thought then was that your place was to just assist her in provision with money.
Well, no, it starts with that.
Okay.
It starts with that. But then now, okay, like say there's an event.
Okay.
Okay. There's an event. I don't disturb her about how she's going to design and whatever. But then if she has something she needs to build, again, God has given me
That
the
ability
talent
to do that.
build things.
Okay.
So I build. God has also helped me with a few muscles. I lift things too.
That's obvious.
Yes. So, and I think it's just like that. So just knowing that place, it's still a new business, and there's still more to do. There's still a lot of places to iron out. But it's just about that knowing where you fit in, and I think that's the beauty of marriage. Each person knowing where they fit in,
Knowing your duty, knowing your role
to
in
complement
yeah.
each other.
That's very interesting, and you have given a lot of people to the ability to understand that is actually very good. You can work with your partner. One thing that Dr. Iku made clear now is that you can do all the sketching, do what's there. He is not good at that. But where you need physical manpower, where you need, juggling, building things, there it comes in. And some people may actually know that, and they may still not. Were you seeing him helping you in that, or you just shared it with him?
Absolutely. Okay.
I
mean, the idea came to me, but even at the time that the idea came to me, we both knew that it is time. I think that's one of the blessings of God. We always work in synergy when it comes to serious things like that, and it's almost as though God has already prepared us ahead of time for things. To be quite honest, this business in particular has exposed the various areas where I am stronger, and he the ones that he's stronger, I tend to lean on him. Where it is my own time, he tends to lean on me as well. So we kind of it's a kind of yin and yang thing. So we kind of know whose strength and whose weakness that the other person needs to support.
So those skills that you exhibit in your business, you still extend it in the home as well?
Yes, I would say
or it's different.
Yes, for me, yes, it's still the same thing. Because while you were just talking, I was just thinking about it. She cooks, I can cook too, but I don't like staying in the kitchen with her when she's cooking. And she does the same thing, vice versa. Why? Because we have different methods as human beings, and you want to comment. Even sometimes when I'm cooking and she comes into the kitchen, she wants to say, "Why don't you do it that way? Why don't you do that?" And I tell her, "Please, just go." Now, I know some people say, stay in the kitchen with your husband when they are cooking. It's because one doesn't know how to cook. So the other one will just keep quiet. Whatever she just does, you just pass for her. No disrespect to...
So you're both good cook. That's interesting.
We have our strengths. So he has things that he's particularly very good at.
Very good.
Especially when it comes to baking and bake. Those things are not my strong suit.
So Dr. Igu can cook.
Yes, ma'am.
You can bake.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You're blessed.
So,
You're blessed.
Yeah, so with respect to that, that's basically how it works. So... and I first noticed it when she joined me in the UK, and because I'd been cooking by myself.
You were independent.
The thing was, it was vexing me, like, why is she doing it? So why is it? And now you realize that, wait, you have to actually give way.
Give way.
And I think that's just it. So that's where it has, for me, I think that's where it has helped me with the business. So I think, God teaches you gradually. So when you can apply one lesson, so knowing when to give way, this is not my thing, this is not my place, even though I know it.
So that's going to take us to another question. So how has marriage modified your life? He said something. He said he actually had to be intentional to give way, to allow you in. Because, there are certain things you've always done as single ladies and single men. But some people still carry that attitude, that mentality into marriage. So marriage will make you shift certain roles to be able to allow certain things. So how has marriage changed your life?
I think, to be quite honest with you, I think God has probably been building us for this time. Because I in the period of our marriage, especially the early part, I remember the time where I wasn't working. That was the most difficult part of our marriage, and the most difficult part for me in person. So I think when it came to the time where I could be expressive, where I was able to express myself in a different talent, he understood that this is my aim game. This is where I come alive when I'm doing something. I'm not the best person to sit idle or not do something. So I think he recognized that in time to just allow me have that moment. You know, I feel that if he hadn't recognized it, if he's asking me to, maybe I'm not the type that can play a housewife. If I'm to be idle, it will not work. We will not actually. He understood me that this is the kind of person I am, and once I've put my mind on it, it has to happen, sort of. So
thank you. Yeah. I think I want to call the attention of our viewers to certain points that you made. You know, in marriage, that you need to accept who your partner is. You know, if you don't accept some things, if you don't give ways with some things, things don't work. And I think that's where we actually all the time get it wrong, where we still want to play our role, forgetting that somebody has the pattern has to change. Yeah. The mode of work, the pattern has to change. You understand? So I think I've been blessed by your experience. Has there been any challenge? Maybe before I get to that, one of those things you work, if you are not actually secured in this relationship, I think working together as business partners may not actually work. And one of those things I want us to really actually trash out before we end up is, what do you think? What is secure? A lot of people feel insecure in their marriage. They feel insecure even with their husband, even though it's tagged that they are married. So what to you is insecurity in marriage? I'm going to ask you what is insecurity. I'm going to ask Dr. Igu what security means in marriage.
Okay, insecurity, I feel, is just lack of identity. It's just purely lack of knowing who you are or recognizing who your husband or wife is insecurity, because you are so unaware of who you are that you dabble between, could I be this person, could I be that person? But if you are very strongly in tune with your identity, it helps the way you carry out the tasks that come to you, really. So insecurity is lack of the knowledge of who you are, lack of identity. That's what I perceive as insecurity. So, yeah.
Dr. Igu, what is security in marriage?
What is security?
What makes you secure when you're with Chioma? And what makes Chioma feel secure when she's with you?
What makes her feel secure?
What I'm asking you, okay. What makes you secure? Yeah.
For me, what the ultimate security is, walking in God's purpose. Because what shall it profit a man when he gains the whole world and loses his soul? And that is for me the ultimate security, and that is basically what I'm working on. Because I told you how I didn't know much about marriage, and I'm still learning, by God and the Holy Spirit. So that is basically that security, because I believe that if I can get it right with God, then every other thing will fall in place. Sometimes it doesn't look like it is right, but if my security is, if I get it right with God, if I get it right with His vision, if I can get it right with His purpose, then every other thing will fall in place. So that, for me, that is security.
That's the God role in being secure in your own relationship. Choma talked about having identity of who you are and everything. For some people are not at this level of spirituality that you are. You understand? What I have here, it says security in a relationship refers to the emotional, psychological, and physical comfort and trust that partner feels when they are together. You understand? I want to believe that there are certain ways you want to make your husband feel safe. You understand? So how do you, I'm going to get to that. How do you make Sister Chioma feel safe? And how do you see him? How do you want to feel safe around your husband? Personally, no. I can tell you what makes me feel safe. You understand? So what I want you to, you are my guest now, I want you to tell me, how do you feel safe?
How do I feel safe?
It's something psychological, it's mental. Yeah.
How do I feel safe around her?
Yeah. What
Wow.
makes you feel safe?
This is what I usually say. Everybody thinks every thought comes to everybody's mind. And so I like quoting the scripture when the Bible says, let her breast satisfy you, which means, and understanding it means that you need to keep reassuring yourself. Okay? You need to keep reassuring yourself. Now, let me give you an instance. When she started driving and she goes out, I used to dread getting a phone call from her. Why? Because my head would be telling me that she might have had an accident, and that's why she's calling. And that went on in me for a long time until you have to reassure yourself that no, she's going to go out safely and come back safely. So that is basically it. So there are certain things you cannot control because you cannot guard everybody. You cannot want to chaos. Okay, I must be with you everywhere to make sure you're safe. But then that security that, all right, yes, she's smart, she's wise. She actually makes decisions on her own. Sometimes I say, come on, she's running a business now, so why would I be thinking that that she's dumb and things? So you have to assure your heart, because doubts will come, definitely. Alternative views will come. But then is that so I have to find a way to reassure myself. No, she has gone out, she's careful, and she will come back. She's doing this, she's smart, and she can complete it. Now, that is an assurance that has to come from within. Now, someone can be misbehaving at this point in time. That's where, again, with your training as a Christian, you have to go back and find what worked before and says, this is still the same person. Maybe this person is going through stress, going through, these are things that we have to learn. Sometimes you say, how are you? They don't answer. And you're like, okay, maybe there's something good. It's not easy, but you have to always, okay, maybe there's no answer, but then you have to find a way to reassure yourself that maybe in the next 3 weeks, the answer will come. Praise the Lord.
I think I'm going to take it from there, Dr. Igwe. From experience that I've had with people, discussion, I've had it over time at, people cancel in marriage and everything. I think one of those points that has been shared with me is people feel insecure when they are not communicated with. When people bring in their past experiences into their marriage, like you have issue where people compare their mom with their wife, and those people feel like, oh, I'm not good for him, I'm not good for you. Being insecure is psychological,
Yeah.
but as a partner, there's a way you should make your husband or your wife secure. I think communication is one of those things. He doesn't talk to me anymore, she doesn't talk to me anymore. I don't know his mind, I don't know her mind, and everything. Have you had a period where you have to struggle with not sharing, not being honest, not communicating with each other at a level? You understand?
Yeah.
I think that's what brings insecurity. Knowing that, oh, my husband cannot speak for me, my girlfriend cannot defend me. Or we have had issues where we have problem even in family, and people trust their husband to defend them regardless. Yeah. Those are the things that brings insecurity. Have you had any issues like that in the past?
I would say, so my husband, communication is the top. Let me say, it's his love language. He loves to communicate, and for me,
communication,
yeah,
is his love language.
Yes,
and deep. That's deep.
Yes, unfortunately for him, that's not my own. It's not my strong suit. I'm not very good at expressing myself to an extent. So when we first got married, it was a big issue because I like to just keep to myself. So when things happened, we could go weeks
without talking about it.
I wouldn't want to bring up conversation. I wouldn't want to engage in conversations regarding what has happened, And it so happened that when I finally have to talk about it, it's no longer, it has gone bad, I would kind of explode out of what I've thought about the situation and all. So over time, I had to learn that, I have to at least say what I had in mind. I have to have that conversation as soon as possible. So yes, it has been a long journey, because it was a case of me changing how I've worked to actually suit him, and we're getting there. I'm not yet where. Maybe I've had a few times where I tell you straight away when something is wrong. No, give me my flowers. But usually, because
she said, "Give me my flowers.
Give me my flowers.
Give it to me."
No, because to be quite honest with you, I know. Remember, I can be quite strong. I can be quite strong. I can be quite strong. That's just the best way to put it. So at this point, it's a case of I don't want it to come out that strong, because maybe that's how I'm feeling at that time. So I'll try to give myself some time to calm down and find a better way to say it. And another thing I'll point out is I prefer to write. So sometimes I prefer to communicate by writing things down. He's not keen on that kind of a thing. He's more of a conversation person. And that's where we are still working on, on that aspect. But yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be. Come on.
Oh, that's so lovely. That's so lovely. Sister Choma said it's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
So marriage is supposed to build you up, change you progressively. You don't get there a day. Oftentimes, we expect perfection from our, from our spouses. But she said something that is so thrilling, and you understand. She said, it's not as it used to be.
Yeah.
And we should be open to progression. We should be open to getting better, just advancing. Success is not where you get to a day. Success is progressive, and that I want to see that. I want to see that in couples. But we put so much pressure on ourselves in such a way that we just expect that things will just come out from the blue and get to Jerusalem, get to heaven. The value and the key point is to keep getting better and getting progressive. Thank you, Dr. and Deaconess Ego. Suma amazing couple, Dr. and Deaconess. I call them the Didis. And nobody gets there a day. Nobody accomplishes everything in a day. There are couples out there who are looking out, to be taught. They are looking out for experience. Some they don't believe in marriage again.
Yeah.
You are there, and because you are there and you're still, I trust that you still believe that marriage works. So what advice will you give to other, couple? And I'm going to wrap it in two. Other intending couple, what advice would you give them? And what has been your struggle and that you have overcome in the past?
Okay. The first advice I'll give is know God. So I always say to my husband, and just about anybody who asks me anything about marriage, I always say marriage is difficult already, even within the Christian fold. How much more without God? So just know God, first of all. Second of all, you need to embrace your walk with God, because most of the problems that come up in marriages are problems we all have individually. So it's always your husband identifying your weaknesses and you identifying your husband's weaknesses.
Most problems we have in marriages are problems within us.
Yes. So I feel that you will not see your problem. Your husband might be the one to, even if you don't see it, he might be the one to trigger you to come out with those other weaknesses that you didn't know you have.
Sorry to cut you. There's this thing I used to say. I normally will say that there are certain things, defects that exist within you.
Yeah.
There is only marriage that will
bring it out. Exactly. You put it perfectly well. So I feel the earlier you identify those weaknesses and try to work on it, the better your marriage will be. Because spiritually speaking, as a Christian, when I pray about marriage or say I complain to God about maybe something my husband has done, he always returns with giving me an instruction of what I should do about my own behavior, my own character.
So when you want to change somebody,
the change
starts with you first.
So yes,
and that's the problem we have really in marriage. Most people, we target our partner.
Yes.
He's not doing this for me. He's not doing that for me. He's not that. Let me take you through my small whatever. I think I've always faced my husband and say, you did this to me. You did that to me. You did. You know what he told me one day? I was like, he said, it's only you that they offend. I offend you. You think you have not offended me? Because I kept quiet. I was ashamed. I was ashamed. Because, you know, I came from the background where you have to, I normally speak my mind. My husband could keep quiet for you for 10 years. And you would not even know that you have offended him. I'm telling you. And I melted. I was cold to see that, okay, it's not because I'm good, but because he has always kept quiet. But because I've not always kept quiet, I've always seen him as a bad boy. And the day he told me, Holy Spirit just broke me down. I said, okay, I melted. So before we change others, there are defects that the other party, which is your spouse, can first identify in you. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma. So I've lost a bit of my train of thought. You said the challenges.
No, I was actually asking those things that you saw that were a bit of a challenge for you in your marriage, and you want to throw that as an advice to our viewers, upcoming or even in their marriages.
Yeah, I think that's number one. That's identifying that you have weaknesses. Another challenge that could exist is completely running marriage based on what you've heard or what you've seen or your expectations. So we are
unrealistic
expectations. We are dealt with the person we're married to, and that's the focus. So you see people that see this person, that's how that person behaves. You tailor your changes to the person you're dealing with. Yes, if you are married to somebody else, they might not trigger certain things from you, you know, but this particular one you're married to, this is the weakness this person has, this is the weakness this person is triggering from you. So don't just deal. Yes.
So sorry to cut you in. I really want to, because if we keep rolling like that, what your key point is that you don't act in your marriage, don't leave your marriage based on the experiences you have, because you know, I know that when people do that, even their spouse that they are with suffer for what they never did.
Yes.
Just because you are bringing back the pain and the experiences you had from others.
Yes.
The person you are with is not the one who did that. But before the person acts or anything, you are already like, oh, you don't give me that.
Yeah.
So it's good to actually deal. In my language, there's this proverb that I said, you face the person that you are actually, that is selling to you.
Okay.
When you get to the market, it's the person that is selling to you. By the time you keep looking at the other person selling other goods, you will lose it. Thank you so much, Dr. Egu and Sister Deaconess Egu. And that's we're going to round up now. And I'm going to ask you one thing, and that is, you know, we all have what we want. I love how to be loved. For me, I don't mind being on the bed with my spouse, just telling stories for 1 hour, 2 hours, lying in pillow and everything. But it is well. But and we all have what we love. We want how we want to be loved. You understand, Dr. Egu? How do you want to be loved? Do you express your love publicly? Does Sister Chema? How do you want to be loved? Because at times we assume this is how to be loved. I can know that this is how to be loved, but I mean not like that.
Yeah.
I know how my husband wants to be loved, and he knows what I want as well. So how do you want to be loved?
That is a very simple question, and
it's very simple.
It's simple and complicated at the same time. But let me look at it this way. After understanding marriage, and which is that God have brought a woman and a woman together,
A woman and man.
a man and a woman together, woman and man together, for the purpose of doing a particular work. Now, that work is not going to be easy. That's why he needs help or she needs help. Okay? So, which means the premise of marriage is for people to come together to fight battles, you know, to have victories together, to go through challenges together. The rest of the remaining enjoyments will come after victories. You know, that's why, but then we break down when there are challenges rather than moving forward when there are challenges. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Now, she mentioned basically it. let's just keep talking.
Chatting.
This is bad. We can just talk about it without prejudice, without being, and without bad blood. Yes, we know it's bad. We know it's not working.
Dr. Igwe enjoys being talked to.
Honestly,
chatted
he can
with.
prolong a conversation just because he wants to have. And once I've made my point, that's it. So he can go on and on about something, and once I've made my point, I've withdrawn, and that's it.
And
so unfortunately, he just wants the conversation to keep going and going and go. So that's him. That's his love language.
But
so,
you have come to accept that as part of
what will I do now?
She's working on it.
I'm working on it.
Because, and let me tell you how my mind works. If I watch a film, I want to talk about it.
Yeah, I've slept.
Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You understand? So, and that is basically how simple it is for me.
He wants to analyze it.
And I want to even have whether it's good or bad.
Let's analyze it.
And just flow. And with a calm mind, something will come out of it. Sometimes we there's just so much heat over nothing. Because by the time you calm down, it was actually nothing. And that's just basically it for me. And that's why I say it's simple and complicated. Okay, and it requires a lot of training, it requires a lot of being there, because that's just it. Because when you can flow, because there'll be challenges now. And then what is expected is this thing is broken. Okay, it's natural for you to say, you broke it. You don't want to stand down there. It's broken. And let me tell you where I started learning this from. There was a time when we were traveling. I was becoming older, and we had a flat tire on the way. And I was now my responsibility to change tire.
Okay.
Because I'd become old enough as a boy. And I was changing, and then my mom was like, you're wasting time. In the Formula 1, they do this thing in 1 second.
Can you tell them that it's not me you are traveling with?
No, it wasn't. I said when I was growing up now as a boy. When I was growing up as a boy, and I said my mom. So, and I wanted to respond to her and say, they use my dad was like, focus on what you are doing, live.
You see, that's one thing I actually have learned from the two of you. You are two different entities.
Yes,
two opposites, from two ends of the world.
Yes.
And that is it. You see, that's what marriage entails. Having the same chemical, carbon dioxide and carbon dioxide, it doesn't work in marriage. It's having two different elements that you are now meant to complement each other. I think, for his ability to be expressive, there is something to gain about it. You will gain something in it from his own strength and from your own strength as well. It's just to complement one another. For you now wanting to change Dr. Higu,
I can't change it.
so you can't. I'm really very happy about that. You are able to accept the fact that you know what brings frustration in marriage? Wanting to change who God has given to you. You can't change any man. Trying to attempt, making an attempt to change what you have leads to frustration, and that's when people don't get it. Your husband, some men, my husband could be in the room for 20 years. I'm telling you, my attempt to now say, you cannot do that, so marriage should change you. Marriage can change and take a bit of that. Him recognizing that I need to relate, I need to be with this, but that wouldn't change him. My ability to not, my desire to wanting to change him now, I will get frustrated. You don't make the spouse God has given us. I think they are like ingredients, like maize. You can make a lot of things from maize. I can't begin to tell you. Some make bread out of it. Some make whatever. So whatever tool God has given you, just make use of it. There is no seed that you've been given that is bad. Even if it talks from Genesis, from now to tomorrow, there is a reason why God has given you. It's just because you are the quiet side. Because he is able to be expressive, he will bring you out of your quietness. And each time he wants to go on the higher part of being, talking, you are there. By the time you keep quiet, you are not answering him, he will go down.
Yeah, I'm ready to keep quiet. to keep quiet.
Because sometimes after 20 minutes, you notice I've been quiet.
No, people like to keep quiet from the beginning too. So I'm just like, you know, like even
you will have seen
I'll just
our attitude.
And this is where the Holy Spirit, I just want to put this is where God helps, you know, which is like because when you have many errors and then it now says, okay, let me put it this way. Sometimes when you have a conversation in your head and then you have that conversation with God and you now find out that those things should not come out. You know that everything you needed to say was just for you. And then you let it go. So it takes that training. There are some things something that happened this week. She just came and talked and I was like, let me just go. You know, because for me, I mean, we could still talk and really it's just all right, let's just let us really look at it from different angles. But she say, I've made my point and that is all. Yes. Let us go.
That's the thing. He enjoys. My husband can make a conversation. When something happens and I want it dealt with immediately, my husband wants to have a conversation about it.
That's him. Just accept who he is, and he gets to accept who you are as well. Yeah. It's been amazing having you guys around. It's been lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the experience. Thank you for taking us through the private walls of your rooms. And I pray that your children are blessed. Amen. Your business increase from glory to greater glory. My prayer to couples usually is God will add value to your life. Amen. You will bless yourself. Amen. And the blessing in blessing yourself, you will bless others. Amen. And there is no existence of marriage really than for it to please God. Your marriage will please God. Amen. In the name of Jesus. Dr. Egu, are you that romantic? How do you express your love in public? Oh gosh. Okay. How do you express?
When you start school, I would like to sign him up.
Okay.
Let's leave it there.
Okay, let's leave it there.
The Lord is helping him.
The Lord is helping him. Okay. He can't do that.
He's too spiritual to do it.
It's not a spiritual thing.
Oh my God. Sister Chioma, do you do that? How do you express your love?
To be honest, I know his love language, and that's I try to. He knows how difficult it is for me to. So when I manage be enjoying it, now that I'm having a conversation. So I try my best, and it's very difficult for me. I won't lie, especially when I'm tired. So try and have a conversation. So that's his love language. Now, and
let me just chip in there. And this is what Mommy said, and this is just an advice to couples. You see, when she said it's difficult for her, usually she doesn't also know that the other person is also difficult for the other person. Like when he said, actually the time I tell her that by the time one day I will deal with all your complaints and then you will now come and start having to deal with mine. Because usually when someone is say offended or in the saying you're not doing right, that what she said is difficult for her. But we don't also think that the other person too, whom you said that we are all different people, is also struggling to kind of also put you in. And I think that's where God wants the beauty of marriage to come for us to, not when we are talking now, but in the heat of the moment, to know. And that is where I believe that when we all crack that code, not in discussions like this, but in the heat of the moment.
To practical.
Say, everybody needs to have dementia there.
Temporal loss of memory.
In the heat of the moment, and that is the sweet spot. In the heat of the moment, I say, okay, this is this person. All right, now I will deal with this person in the heat of the moment like this, and that is.
Thank you so much. The journey has been very interesting. I met a couple whose journey began in the classroom.
Example.
That's good. And that's Dr. and Deaconess Egu.
I was a very young lecturer. I just finished from school. I was not an old lecturer.
It doesn't matter. You pick one of your students. Dr. and Deaconess Egu, the DD. It's nice having you on the program. Thanks for coming. Thanks for opening up to us. And it is our custom to always, as a symbol of your presence here, that's a little gift from Stronger Together.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, it is we expect that you open it.
What do you want to give us?
We hope to have you.
Thank you so much.
I believe when we call you next time, you're gonna come
Absolutely,
back.
absolutely.
You're gonna come
We've
back.
enjoyed it.
Then Dr. Egu will be able to express his love publicly.
Oh,
He's still on a journey.
yes, so.
He will be able to do that for us.
Yes,
Maybe with the Bible in his hand. The Bible will be the flag, the drop down, and he will do that for us. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing edition of Stronger Together. We want you to click the subscribe button and the like button. We hope to see you on this channel next month. And if you've got any questions or any comments, you can drop in the comment section. Till I come your way next time, Stronger Together. My name is Abiolad. See you, and thanks for joining us.